Now we're ready to get into a more involved library import. So I'm going to back myself up and I'm going to be pointing toward this tool list right over here. Let's pick this one. So this is a pretty large tool library. We've got 241 tools in this particular library, but if we scroll through the list, you're going to see a different status, right? And that's flagging the readiness for Fusion. Now, at the moment, we can absolutely send these into Fusion. The only issue is some of the data isn't really normalized, and Fusion will naturally flag some problems that it might have. Maybe it's missing some data, right? Or maybe it has some errant data because perhaps PowerMill allowed data that maybe just didn't make sense for that particular type of tooling. Okay, so what we can do is jump into the review, and this is what we call our reconciliation page. Now, of those 200 plus tools, actually 123 of these have been flagged with some type of warning, perhaps to the operator. Now, that doesn't mean we have to page through 123 of them, right? You'll see on this very first page here, this one was perhaps flagged because it didn't have a tool number, and now it gives you the opportunity to assign a tool number. Okay? But I'm going to simplify this video, and I'm just going to turn off the optional flags, like flagging a single flute tool, flagging missing tool numbers, or even missing cutting data. Right? We're just going to simplify it for this video right over here. Now, jumping back into the review, we've dropped now to 57 tools that require some resolution, some user interaction. Now, the first one we've landed on here is this number 1024 thread mill. Now, the number 1024 is a known thread size, so we know what those thread characteristics must be. But on this page, you'll see this was caught in our filters, right? And it's saying, hey, a 1-inch pitch is absolutely impossible for this particular thread size. So it was flagged and automatically resolved by correcting the pitch size. So that's exactly why you see the status over here as ready for import. Same thing with this next tool. This next tool was caught and it's ready for import. In this particular instance, Fusion said, hey, the flute length has to be at minimum the same length as the pitch. Right? It's the only thing that makes sense, actually. Right? So it was automatically corrected. And same idea for all the statuses that have the green circle on them. But if you throw on the remaining filter, this gives you an idea of how many are left for user interaction, right, or user response. So now that I've shown one that requires my action, I may simply have to say, yep, this tool was intended to be the M14 by 2, or maybe it was intended to be a fine, or maybe I just want to keep the imported value. Same idea for the rest of these cards. You do have the option for user override to specify an exact size. Should the automatic suggestions not be accurate, but I think you'll find more often than not the suggested options there are going to fit what you're looking for. So I would have to walk through the remaining 30, but for the sakes of this video, I'm just going to sort my list, ignore these for this particular import so we can move ahead, add this to the library, and then have a peek at the assemblies. Here's our new local library, and no doubt you're going to be familiar with your tool assembly. So as you have a good look at your tool assembly there, you'll recognize the validity of this particular import, as well as the cutting data that perhaps came along with this. Okay, so the next video I will show options for what we can do when PowerMill does not have source cutting data. That'll be next.